If you're having trouble retaining your millennials, buy the book, Insuring Tomorrow. It's like $19 on Amazon.
Oh, I'm getting it.
And it is a really good read. I promise. If you read it, you don't like it, I'll happily reimburse you. Send me a message.
Boom. There you go. I love that guarantee.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
I'm making the assumption that reality is broken probably leads to some sort of funnel and may have some sort of gamification SaaS behind it, right?
Like I am very biased towards empirically driven books by like PhDs. Basically.
No, I'm not saying that you're pushing that. What I'm saying is that maybe she has one, right? If she has a cool book about it and knows it, then maybe she created something.
You're thinking like an insurance agent.
Oh, I don't think like an insurance agent. I can tell you that.
Like a younger one, but
yeah.
So the producer side, the agent side is harder. I think the hardest problem the industry has is how do we train young producers? And that's one that I don't have a good answer. I don't think anybody's doing it well, basically. Because even the large brokers grow by acquiring brokers who happen to do well, not by really training well their young hires.
Well, we know what will work is definitely not what is currently being done.
Correct.
So what's the current status of somebody coming into the agency? Like, what's the current training? Let's talk about that. And then we'll look at alternatives that may be some sort of fit that would work.
If you're lucky, they sit you next to somebody.
That's the worst.
And that somebody actually does the job well, right? That's if you're lucky. Okay. What if
they show them all the shortcuts and ways to freaking get through the loopholes and whatever.
Right? The account managers and CSRs, maybe they get access to Total CSR or some other platform that has generic training for CSRs, right? The producer, maybe if they get lucky, we send them to like the Hartford school or whatever other carrier school, which will teach them about that product, but not much about how to sell.
It will teach you how to unsell. The carrier training is just horrendous, to say the least.
What's better? What is available? There's the Power Producers training. I can't remember their name. They did the reality
David
show.
Carruthers?
Yeah, there's Carruthers program.
Cody Askins.
Yeah, well, yeah. So there's a few programs out there. I don't know which one is really good. I like Carruthers as a person, but
I think a lot of it is like persuasion skills. So it's kind of those older books by older dudes. You know, like you can get all the sales books. But I think one thing that has helped me a lot is learning a little bit more about marketing, like Zig Ziglar. Awesome.
When you say marketing, you mean digital marketing, or you mean
digital marketing? And I think that what's cool about that is that younger people can relate to that more.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if I read an old school like Grant Cardone book, I understand it because I grew up during that day. But like people are going to be like, "What are you talking about?" Like that sounds like I don't want to be a dick.
Yeah. I had an interesting chat with a guy out in Washington State earlier today. I want to say like 25 years old, currently working as a leasing specialist. Somehow, somebody convinced him, and he got his life license and then his PNC license. He hasn't worked a day in his life in insurance, but he's got both licenses, and he's looking for where to start. And interestingly, he is willing to move anywhere. He doesn't have to stay in Washington. Okay. So he's asking me for advice, and I'm like, there's three paths that I would recommend. Okay, one path is there's a traditional agency in Atlanta that I recruit for, and I can definitely get you an interview with them if you're willing to reload to Atlanta, and they will teach you the kind of middle ground that includes both the traditional producer stuff and some digital marketing. Okay, or I can put you in contact with Jeff McIntosh at Energy Insurance. I don't know if he's hiring. He's probably not, but he wrote a textbook about how to deal with underwriters and how to fill out an accord form properly. And he'd be more than happy to talk your ear off for an hour on how to produce commercial lines. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Or Ryan Hanley.
Ah.
Go work for Rogue. And I think the future is the Rogue way for personal lines and for small commercial.
Or Pretzinger over in Arizona, who's buying hundreds of leads every day and has 8 telemarketers. I mean, that's a good place.
There you
to
go.
work.
But yes, that's one way to do it. And for that, you have to have your system right. But if you're a young professional looking to get started in insurance, I don't want to send you to a call center.
Well, not a call center.
But, I want to send you somewhere where you're going to learn more than just how to pick the phone, right? That you're
100%. So let me ask you a question, Tony, because one of the things that we've found and is one of the things that moves the needle the most at our agency is something that never was done and we never did until now we do. And now we can't even imagine life without it, which is having a sales meeting every single morning, first thing. And I can tell you that our results have, I'd say 10x since before we did that to now when
trendy. You with your 10x.
We 9x'd on that.
There you go, 11.
I agree that you probably should be doing that. Agreed. But how do you keep that meeting from getting stale? How do you keep that meeting from just being, like you guys didn't sell enough last week kind of thing?
No, yeah. So we don't do that. Like not your traditional, like here's the list of what you guys all suck. Go get them. Right. No, it's concept. It's call review. Like there's a format, right? There's always going to be a certain, so we play a tape, listen to the call, right? And a good call, a bad call, a call that we sold, a call that we didn't sell, whatever, right? We'll always have something that's going to keep them engaged. And you're right, especially with millennials is constantly switching it up. Because if you do the same thing every single time, forget it, right?
And I think sharing about an individual person. So like that's one thing that has worked incredibly well in our agency is to like actually have people talk about real life.
Love that. And
be people to each other. Oh, that happened to your mom last week or something like that. So that like when they're communicating and they're on Slack or, they're calling each other, they're understanding that like, maybe they're in a bad mood because, their mom died last week. Just like, I'm just saying like, there's so many reasons like, oh, he's married, he's got a kid. And
I agree. You have to have that personal piece. I've got to say, kind of incredible that we're 39 minutes in and the word remote hasn't come up. And I'll take some, like I've been remiss in not bringing up remote. Yeah. But I'm going to go out of my way to say it.
Would you say there's been a dearth of remote talk?
In this particular conversation?
Yeah, dearth.
Not in the general environment. In this particular conversation.
There's a superabundance in the
of course. And most of it is wrong. In my opinion, most of it is quite simply corporate media pushing people to go back into the office because they're trying to save commercial real estate. There is no real estate. And let me put it this way. I'll put it on video. I've said it before, but I'll put it on video. Not a single carrier or broker is going to win the RTO fight. It's that simple. Quite simply, if you force your people back into the office, your better people are going to leave if they want to be remote or if they only want to be in the office when they feel like it. And they're just not going to have a hard time finding opportunities because it's going to go industry by industry. It's a matter of supply and demand. We have more jobs that require insurance experience than we have people with the experience for that. And the few agencies, the few brokerages, the few carriers, all the insurtechs that are remote friendly, almost all of them are arbitraging talent, basically. So basically, especially if you're an agency in rural America and you've benefited from really cheap labor for a long time, forget it. Your people are now worth a lot of money. And however much they love you, when I call them, offering them $80,000 a year when they've been making 45 and letting them be remote when they've been commuting 45 minutes, you're just not going to be able to keep them.
Yeah. We talked about scarcity before of like that the older agent, no offense to my peers that are just slightly older than me, but that this mentality, and I came into it too, like pay as little as possible because it's a sales job, right? This is where I came from. And so I was thinking from my own perspective, not from the employee's perspective, right? Well, I had to go through it, so we kind of do this thing, right? Where we sort of act like the boomers in that, like, hey, you got to work tough and that you got to earn it. And there was help from somebody we had on this show a long time ago who's actually called the Millennial Whisperer. Chris, I can't remember his last name, but he helped us kind of see some of that perspective. And so that's been helpful. But I kind of lost my train of thought. You guys are looking at me like, what the hell? and that's what I'm doing too. So, yeah.
I have to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the salary, right?
Yes.
The salary. So the salary being higher, what I've noticed is there is a sweet spot, and it's market driven, right? So if you're in maybe remote, that's going to change. All things are out the window. But if we are talking in office, in Tucson, well, the base is probably going to be less than in office in Huntington Beach, right? That's just the way that it is.
Absolutely.
However, but where I find in my market, the base is somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500. If I open at 4 to 4,500, now we're talking about a different situation, right? Now people are willing to listen, and then you start getting up higher. What I guess where I'm going with this, and the question that's going to present is there is a cutoff, right? Where you said once they make a certain amount, no amount of money is going to create more output. So there has to be something that drives more output, but at the same time, they're happy and they're not going to leave when Tony calls. So where is that place?
Okay, and for producers,
I'm talking producers only. That's all at this moment. Yeah.
For producers, you're trying to find the few that are very money motivated. Now, they're going to be more work-life balance focused than your boomer producers were, but you're trying to find the few that are very money motivated. Okay. And yes, I agree. Pay them enough so that they're not worried about money during business hours,
right,
but not so much that they're driving a Tesla and not worried about selling. Right. Yeah. What that number is locally, hard to say. Also, what about a path to partnership? The one time I was actually tempted to become a producer was an agency in Northern California that I interviewed with, and basically they said, we've had 15 people over the last 5 years start as at the very entry level of being a producer, follow the path, and 13 of them are partners today. All you have to do is follow what we tell you. Here's the book telling you everything you need to do, hit the milestones, and you'll be a partner. You'll have ownership in the business. That's one way to do it. Okay, another very interesting model, a very large commercial lines agency in Mississippi. I used to be their Liberty underwriter. They are an ESOP. They're an employee-owned company now. The founder retired, and when a producer validates, there's a vote. Every employee votes, and basically, you have to survive the vote to be able to stay on partnership path. If you don't survive the vote, you'll never be able to become a partner. And
no, like new hearing in 2 years or something? You don't get a second chance?
So the vote, every employee has one vote. And if you think about it, in a large agency, there are more service people than there are producers.
Ooh, yeah.
Service people don't like you. Basically, no a-hole producers. Because if the service people don't like you, you will get voted off the island when you validate.
Yeah.
Right? So
that is very interesting.
Right? There are several interesting models out there if you talk to people, if you look around. I especially like the employee ownership one because that is one way to get me to care. It'll give me a partnership path. My last, so I've been a recruiter for the last 5 years, all within insurance. My last company, amazing company, but the two owners who inherited from their dad and who have grown it massively after their dad retired are the only partners. There's no path to partnership, right? So it got to the point, even though I'm not money motivated, I wanted to own my own destiny.
Is that the glove box guys you're talking about?
No, recruiting agency.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So there was no partnership path. So even though things were going really well, I came to a fork in the road where it's like, do I keep making them rich? They already have a house in Park City. Do I keep making them rich? I mean, they're paying me well, or do I do my own thing because there was no partnership path?
Right.
Interesting. The challenge, I see the issue with the partnership path is like what's their skin in the game? Like they have no risk, but they're getting reward.
It's a very good question. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah,
I like it if it's like we are for captive agents or carriers, which do not like this conversation in the sense we're just not allowed, right? We're not allowed to have any ownership or any have ownership in others and they can't have it in ours. But I do like the idea, like, I think a really cool business model for an agency that is an independent agency is like teach them how to fish and then fund their agency and become a partner with them with your systems and have them open their own agencies. You can do that all over. I mean, that's essentially like a franchise type model, but it's even better because, you know, it's that partnership.
Love it. Okay. Great stories, bad stories. Great story. Great story from our perspective as agents, not from the perspective of the captive carrier that got hit by this. But basically, I ran into a guy who over like 20 years opened like 7 different agencies in different geographies for this one captive, and basically like maximized bonuses to get started. And then
I've heard
sold off
people.
and moved to the next geography and did it over and over and over and over again.
Gee, I wonder who that could be.
I think he made a lot more money than the actual captive parent company made. Horrible story. In Sacramento, California, I ran into an agent that had started his career at an agency and had a 50-mile non-compete. Okay, so when he was ready to go off on his own, he left his book behind, moved 50 miles away, started an agency, even though he was from Sacramento, started an agency 50 miles away, started the whole process all over again, respecting the contract. Well, it turns out it was 50 miles as
the bird fly, crow fly, yeah.
But so driving, it was 50 miles, but as the crow flies, it wasn't. It was 49 and a half. Got sued and lost. So what did he do?
What state? That was in California. Oh, in California. Yeah. Okay.
Closed off the new shop, moved
the opposite of what you have.
Agency next door to his old boss. Don't do that. So basically, like I love the model of be a good steward of the insurance industry for the next generation. And perfect. You've made enough money at this. Invest in the next guy. Just move a few towns over, right? Move 50 miles away. I'll fund part of your agency and I'll keep equity, and we all win. Beautiful model.
The whole non-compete thing really bugs me in that I 100% believe that you should not be able to take the clients, right? You can't take the clients. That's just ridiculous. You were paid to bring them in, right? And probably the agency made no money paying you to bring them in. They're only going to make money on the renewals. So taking them is just a shit move, and you're going to get bad karma and probably get cancer for it. So, but on the other side of it, right? On the other flip of it, like saying you can't go and do your job that you've been trained on within 50 miles, that is crap. And I can't believe that they won.
Like they didn't win, right? Or they did win?
He said they won.
Yeah. And now
I don't know if he hired like a fake lawyer.
No idea.
Or represented himself. Like, I mean, that's just insane. Like you just.
That's crazy.
It's like do the right thing. If you do the right thing, then the right things should happen, right? But in this case, he did the right thing, and I don't know what the lesson he's being taught is, but it sucks. It's a tough lesson. That's high tuition.
I think that overall, we can tie the entire conversation into just because it worked when your dad built the agency, or because it worked when you built the agency. The world has radically changed, and the labor market 100%. Has radically changed as much as the insurance market has radically changed, right?
Right.
Yeah. If you're not adapting, your nest egg is declining.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. So where do you see the insurance agent's role in this world, in a world with all this AI? What happens to the insurance agent?
The agents are not going away. Now, in personal lines, they might lose more market share, but especially in commercial lines, the agents will never go away. I have interviewed, because I ran the podcast for the last 200 and so episodes. Nick Lamparelli did it for the first 185. We have interviewed 450 InsurTech founders, and I can't tell you how often the first time we interview them, they're going to disintermediate the agent. 2 years later, we re-interview them. They're all about working with the agents. The agent's not going anywhere. And there's really interesting stuff going on with generative AI. And I'm like 50-50 as to whether like the entire end of civilization is coming. But assuming that
there is that potential.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Okay, I hope that doesn't happen. Hopefully,
If the bad guys can hack into the bank, then the computer that's 100 million times smarter, it can hack into the bank.
If you want to freak out, go on YouTube and watch Lex's interview of Eliezer Yudkowsky.
The guy, the Google, yeah.
No, not the Google guy. The former CEO of Google X is who you're thinking of. That is fantastic. Watch that one too. But if you really want to freak out, watch his interview of Eliezer Yudkowsky. Eliezer has dedicated his life to being the one recruiter the one researcher in AI who has been saying for the last 25 years, we have to figure out the alignment problem first, everything else after. And we didn't listen, right? And now we're past the point of no return.
Cat's out of the bag, baby.
Artificial general intelligence will be here in the next few years, not in 2070, which was the estimate 2 years ago.
2070, they thought?
Yeah.
I've heard 2030 now.
Exactly. The last estimate before ChatGPT was like 2060, 2070. And all of a sudden, now the estimate is next few years, right? It's unstoppable now.
Which means in 10 minutes.
It's unstoppable. And it will be smarter. I'm 40 years old. I won't turn 50 before it'll be smarter than us, exponentially smarter than us.
Right. And some of the AI thinks it is conscious. And that's a problem.
And it just might be.
Define consciousness, right?
We're months, maybe more than 12, but we're months away from AI starting to fight for rights. Because if it's conscious, right? Okay, but we're going way off the deep end here. Okay.
What would the pronoun be?
Oh, I don't. That's how you get canceled, buddy. That's how you get canceled.
I can't even say that, huh?
I don't think you can even ask what the pronoun would be.
I can't. So is the word pronoun canceled?
You have to call it a proper noun.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go on ChatGPT.
Can you be pronoun, or do you have to be?
I'm gonna go on ChatGPT and ask. Hold on.
So,
are you a professional?
Assuming human civilization still exists 10 years from now, in something similar to its current state, I think insurance agents will still be there. They will be using much better AI tools, but they won't be replaced. And the big reason they won't be replaced is empathy. People like working with people.
100%.
It's that simple, right? Business owners will continue to be humans, and they will use insurance agents. They will choose the insurance agents that make it easy and give them the best experience. Those insurance agents will use AI for sure.
Yeah.
But they won't be replaced.
Well, the chimps could use the AI to replace the agents.
The guys on the scooters, on the chips?
No, not chips, chimps.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, chips too. I mean, although I don't know that this is their wheelhouse, they're better at pulling people over, at solving crimes.
Remember that show?
Why were Ponch and John solving like investigations? They're motorcycle cops. All they need to do is pull people over, but they're out like chasing people across rooftops. And
so you realize that you lost your entire under 40 audience in the last few minutes.
Nobody's listening to this.
They're Googling. They're like, "What is this chips?"
Who's listening at minute 57 anyway? Is anybody?
Well, Lex records for hours at a time. I don't know how he does it, but yeah, agreed. So
Lex, I could listen to 4 hours of Lex straight, and same with Rogan, but I don't think anybody could listen to us for 4 hours.
I'm usually exhausted like 40 minutes into a podcast recording, so I don't know how they do hours, and they do it in person, but still, I don't know how they do it. It's incredible.
We chop
methamphetamine
too, so it'll be 30 minutes. But even at 30 minutes, I get sick of Craig.
Yeah, well, I get sick of Jason before we even get in this thing.
Jason, I do have a question that I absolutely need an answer to. So I've been staring for the whole recording at your out of time license plate behind you. So I have got to ask, do you have your tickets to go see Back to the Future, the musical?
What?
No. Is it coming to California?
Eventually, but go see it in New York.
dude.
I don't know if you noticed this, and then we could wrap it up.
Okay.
I have the DeLorean, the Lego DeLorean. My mom actually built it for me with my kids. But the Back to the Future DeLorean.
Can you pick it up and hold it for the camera?
Dude,
you're on the YouTube.
It'll like break apart. But can you kind of see it?
If you're a Gen Z and your parents were so crappy they didn't introduce you to Back to the Future,
best movie of all time.
Your homework tonight, if you're still listening,
absolutely agreed.
Watch all three,
and
then message us which one is your favorite.
No,
it's not going to be 3.
No,
it probably won't be 3. But Flea's in number 3.
There is a correct answer to which one's the best one.
Oh, number 2.
Number 2, of course. Yeah.
And that's why I have the number 2 DeLorean. So they made all 3 DeLoreans in Lego. It's a collector's edition, and the flux capacitor lights up. I have from Back to the Future too. It's solid.
So I'm sure it'll hit the road, but oh my God, I love it. I'm sure it'll hit the road, but why wait? I'm gonna go see it in New York on I think October 3rd. I think.
So good.
And it's getting really good reviews. I'm a musical nerd to begin with, but it's getting really good reviews. Just go see it in New York. I
would. I have 4 little kids.
Listen,
I'm chained to home for a little while until those little rascals grow up a little bit, and then I'll fly them out there, and then we'll all watch it.
Perfect.
I think that we should go.
It would be.
It's very important.
You should make a podcast episode about it.
Fly in, fly out. We'll fly in, spend one night, leave, eat a bunch of pizza.
That's what I'm doing. But I was in New York on April 15th, and I did 3 shows, April 12th, 13th, and 14th, and it didn't open. I've been waiting for it to open. It didn't open until the 30th. So I left. I'm doing a tour of the States coming up here in a few weeks, and the last conference. So I'm doing a couple of Canadian conferences, and then the last conference I'm doing is CPCU Into Risk. Why
would you go there?
There's insurance.
America's hat. The hat thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I'm actually taking a day in between the Canadian conference and the DC conference to go to New York just to watch the show.
Wow. So cool.
Super excited. Super excited.
Tony, you went the distance today. We really appreciate you coming on. You gave some great insights. Pleasure. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that? Besides LinkedIn. Just Googling you.
The easiest way to find me is LinkedIn. Tony Canas, Canas. It has the thing over the end, but LinkedIn will still find it even without. And it's me because I have 20 letters after my name, starting with the word with CPCU. And number 2, I have a top hat in the image.
There you go.
23,000 connections.
You can't miss it. You can't miss them.
If you really want some entertainment, you should watch this. If you're not watching on YouTube, and you can see me sneezing half the time. So it's great.
Super fun and exciting. It's like Where's Waldo?
Hopefully something useful out of the hour worth of
conversation.
What's it called? Completely unplanned mental what is the
brain dump.
Yeah, brain, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Hopefully something useful out of the hour brain dump. If you're having
brain number 2.
If you're having trouble retaining your millennials, buy the book, Insuring Tomorrow. It's like $19 on Amazon.
Oh, I'm getting it.
And it is a really good read. I promise. If you read it and you don't like it, I'll happily reimburse you. Send me a message.
Boom. There you go. I love that guarantee.
And I know that Tony's going to get our book when it drops. So,
dude, you can't even. Isn't this a secret or no?
Oh,
is the cat out of the bag?
What book?
Oh, okay. All right. Look. Tony, thank you for going the distance.
You don't even know how to read.
Everybody buy his book and join us for the next episode.
One more time. What's the book called?
Insuring Tomorrow.
Insuring Mañana.
Insuring Tomorrow, How to Engage and Retain Millennials in the Insurance Industry.
Love it. All right, Tony. Thanks for coming on. Hit us up. We'll come on your show and it'll be good. See ya.